This is TJR, and you are watching Brandnite TV. Oi!
Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Brandnite TV. I'm your host Philip, as always. And even though it's raining outside, we have some special guest who's going to set Vienna on fire tonight. Welcome to Vienna, TJR. How's it going?
What's up, man? Very well, man. Thank you.
Cool, good to have you here. The first question I wanted to ask you is, you've been in the electronic music scene for quite some time, quite a while now. How did it all start, like back in the days when you came to DJing and producing in the first time?
Well, like I discovered DJing when I was in college, going to school for golf. I was like super like into rock and everything at the time, and then a roommate in college introduced me, like brought me to my first rave, and I was like, whoa, what is this? This is like really cool, and I kind of like I saw what the DJ was doing, so I was like sort of hooked when I saw the, basically like what the DJ was doing to the crowd and the crowd's response and so forth. So I kind of started from there, and I was obsessed with DJing at the beginning, and then I got into producing later on, like about 7 years ago. Yeah.
So you're twice as long DJing as you're producing.
Yeah, yeah. It was weird, man. Like, I don't know, like I just got the bug later on in life. Like I really love DJing. I love scratching, because in the 90s it was very, that's when the DJ culture was like really big. So that's what I was really just tuned into at the time. And then it just seemed like later on, I just wanted to start creating the music that I was playing so much, which I think works out well because I have like a DJ's mindset when I make music,
That's the difference between producers who DJ and producers who are just in the studio. Because as a DJ, you also know what the track should bring and have to work on the dance floor. So that's something that just like, only producers don't have, of course.
Yeah, and like how, the way the tracks you want and how they should be mixed, right? Like how you want them, the intros and outros designed for mixing, and everything. So I always have that in mind when I'm making a tune. Is it's like how our DJ is going to be able to mix it, and then obviously like how it's going to work on the floor.
I say y'all having a good time out there.
You just mentioned the 90s, and in your biography I read that you consider yourself as a kid of the 90s.
Yeah.
So you were part of the electronic music scene since almost like 20 years or more than 20 years now. For you, what are the pros and cons of electronic music becoming a phenomenal worldwide phenomenon, an electronic phenomenon worldwide, from out of a underground kind of movement?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's amazing now seeing where it's gone, and I'm actually totally cool with it getting big, just because I think the reason why electronic music is so amazing is because there's so many genres, there's so many different vibes, and that it matches so many different people, and I think that's finally now being discovered, because that was kind of holding dance music back in the 90s, because it was very hard to label things, It's like, what is dance music? There's all these genres, people didn't quite know what it was, but now I think it's actually going to benefit because it's so diverse. So you get all these new kids coming in, and let's say they come in and they learn music by just going to festivals, but that's not it. That's just like scratching the surface. So then they dig a little deeper, and then there's so much to discover and find out. But I mean, the pros and cons, you know. I mean, you know, you do lose some of the underground feel, you know, when it has gotten commercialized now, because big business gets involved and they sort of, it becomes more of like a product, and they, you know, the way they package things up and sell it. But at the end of the day, it's a trickle down effect. You know, it helps the overall scene. You know, the more popular it gets, the more people it draws in. You know, I think that's like the benefit. It's just get the kids in to hear dance music, and then at that point they'll decide where they want to go after that.
But isn't it really hard nowadays to split music into underground and overground, or mainstream, however you want to call it? Because, you know, on the one hand, like all these deep house artists, they want to stay underground and they don't want to have anything to do with mainstream. Right. But on the other hand, they're playing in front of 20,000 people and also charge fees that are absolutely crazy. So, you know, where's this gap between staying real and underground, but also being mainstream in a way? Because underground music implicates that if you're underground, it's nothing that the mainstream can really like understand in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So where's this gap? How did you find that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it is funny though how mainstream, how the deep house scene has gotten big, because it's the most anti-mainstream music. So the gap has really widened. So it's either like you make peak time festival music, or you're making like 120. Super chilled out deep house, but it is very interesting concept how, because of that, the deep house scene's exploding, right? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't have the answer for that, but like, I think is for underground music is you keep the tradition, you know. I mean, it's the DJing, it's like the love of tunes, it's the mixing. I don't know, like, mainstream music, it's more of like a show, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily like you're down there and it's more of a vibe. It's just more of like, it's more entertainment. It's just more like big, like I said, it's like lasers and lights and LED. I mean, if the deep house scene starts to go in that nature, you know, and then I don't know what will be underground after that, you know?
It's true. But you just mentioned the DJing part, like the difference between underground and mainstream, the DJ kind of thing. I was just laughing like, at the beginning of this week because a few weeks ago, Seth posted on Facebook that he cannot play a show because his computer crashed. And the whole underground scene was laughing at him and saying, you know, you're not the DJ, you know, fake ass, blah, 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 blah. This week, the same happened to Richie Hawtin.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, how is that possible? I mean, if you earn that amount of money, can't you expect from those guys to have a second laptop with them, or just, you know, at least have some USB sticks to play some tunes? I mean, how can you do that? It's really, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what special thing that they use the computer for. Well, especially Houghton, because I know he's a little bit more advanced and complex on how he goes about his sets. But yeah, anyways, I mean, that's like, when I play a show, I have a few USBs and I have a few SD cards in case one of them goes bad. So you want to have a backup. So like, I don't know, Houghton, he definitely should have a backup. And with Zed, I don't know, like, you need to have a backup. I mean, that's just common sense.
The thing why I think it's worse for Richie Houghton is because everybody knows that Richie Houghton can DJ. I mean, he's DJed in almost 30 years or something. He knows how to play vinyl and everything. So you should be able to expect that a guy like Richie Houghton is able to play the CDJs. But Seth, you know, he's young. He's a talented producer. He's basically, from in my opinion, one of the best producers EDM has right now. But he never ever touched a vinyl in his whole life. But I think so. You know, so you cannot tell somebody to DJ if you never DJed before, except with a laptop. So I think Houghton it's a little bit worse. You know what I mean?
I think he uses I think he uses Tractor and a controller. Dude, I mean, I tried Tractor for a little bit and I stopped using it, but I think it got a convenience anyways. And the way the CDJs are set up now and the way Rekordbox software is there, man, just come with a USB and then just plug it in. And I mean, it's so much easier now. I don't know, man. I really don't see the use of computers. And on top of, man, I don't want to bring a laptop to a club anyways.
I'm too drunk for that.
Yeah, I know. That's what always happens, man. Like I get drunk enough, I forget a USB, let alone a computer, and then you know the other thing is just the screen. Like I don't want to start getting on like laptop DJs because I don't want.
Never mind.
But I don't know. It's that whole thing of like having a screen in front of you, and you're like, when you're DJing, I don't know. It's so.
I have a pretty funny story to that because I think it's about the love about the love for DJing, and if you really want to do it because of the money or the fame or because of the DJing. Because I had a party in Vienna a couple of years ago with Mickey Finn, part of Urban Takeover, like Aphrodite Mickey Finn, and he on the way from London to Vienna, they lost his record bag, like full of hundreds of dub plates and everything. And he came to Vienna, and there was no other flight from London to Vienna, so no chance for him to get his records back because they forgot it in London Heathrow. So we went to my place. Two of my friends came to my place. We opened 3 laptops, and Aphrodite was sending him tracks that we just burned like 1 hour before he was DJing, and that's how he DJed. And I think that's the way it should be. You know what I mean?
Smart, yeah.
That's like it's supposed to be.
But again, you know, he is from the old school and he knows how to adapt and yeah, dude, as long as you know how to mix tunes and you don't depend on any certain software to do it for you, then you can use turntables or CDJs and tape cassette probably. I mean, it's all learning on
Carrie Chandler style. Then.
Yeah, right. Tape machines, but like yeah, it's. I think old school guys just know how to adapt, man. We were so used to using like turntables and the needle's broken. You know, you got to pull out the coins and put the coins on the needle to keep it stick. I mean, I don't know. It's more of a DIY, I guess, system that we come from.
But enough about other guys and music and DJing. Let's come back to TJR. When you're in the studio or on the road producing, what production gear do you use?
Well, I'm Ableton guy, and I'm all on the computer. But the only thing is though, my workhorse synth is a Virus TI, and it's outboard unit. So I like do everything on that. So when I'm on the road, I'm kind of like little, like just missing that piece that I need for my leads. So I usually, like on the road, I usually design more beats. That's kind of what I do. And then when I go home, and then I start up the Virus and I write my leads on that.
What do you think is the most important thing when you produce music? Is it more how unique a tune is, or basically it's about the uniqueness of the track itself, or is it more the sound of the track in the end of the day? Because there are a lot of tracks out there that sound perfectly, but like it's nothing new, nothing special. On the other hand side, you have a lot of like really creative new stuff, but you can listen that they don't have any experiences in audio engineering, but it's still I still prefer playing those tracks instead of the like highly produced studio equipped kind of tracks.
It's like if you want to go into like the electro progressive world, you have to know a lot about engineering, and you have to know how to make tracks sound big, which is like that takes a whole other like learning curve to learn how to do that. I think like the deeper music, the less festival style, I think you don't need to worry about that as much. It's more about the idea and the creativity. I think like I don't know, that's just my opinion. The electro and progressive is a little bit more challenging because you have to try and be different, and then at the same time you have to try and sound as big and powerful. But to answer your question though, I still think it's creativity. It's your uniqueness of your sound that you can figure out, which because to be very surgical and technical and to make things big, you can go online, you can watch tutorials, but there's no tutorials that teach you how to be creative and unique, So that's more of a learning behavior, where the other is more or less like yourself sitting in your room or wherever you make music and just trying to just create something different that you're not hearing at the moment.
What inspires you most to be creative when you're in the studio producing tracks?
I don't know, like a big thing for me is, see, I'm not like a guy that turns out tunes every week, because I'll make a lot of music and I'll just start working, and then I really like, I sit back and I'm like, is this different? Is this weird enough? Or is it, it sounds like this other tune, it sounds like that, I'm not gonna do that idea. Yeah, I really strive to come up with each of my tunes that have some sort of quirkiness, and then they kind of stand out from what is being made at the moment from others. But my inspiration, man, I tell you what, like, it's why I like to work alone a lot, because if I'm in my room and if I get up and I start dancing, I go into my bathroom, I'm in the mirror and I'm like making like a retarded face, and I'm like, woo. And if I can like do my little thing, like, then I know that I'm onto something good. So it's like, yeah, it's just usually if I'm working on a tune and it really can make me move, and then like the next day I wake up and it's still doing it for me, then I know I'm like, I'm on the right thing.
Don't you want to do a live stream on Ustream the next time you're producing a track? I would love to see that.
So bad.
Right now you're on your European vacation tour through Europe. What's coming up next for TJR, like, production-wise and DJ-wise this year?
So I got so Ode To Oi is getting a mainstream release. So we're getting a vocal on it, and that's going to be out in a few weeks. And then I have my next single called "What's Up, Suckers," with a Z, and that's coming out I think like in May. And then I was just in Switzerland working with Crookers, so we have like a couple tunes coming out. And then when I get back to the States, I have a few weeks off, but then it's just like it's a bunch more touring going on. And just trying to just get as much music as possible, because I'm still trying to learn like the whole touring thing and staying productive and keeping tunes coming out. So I'm trying to learn the balance on how to get it all done. And like, I'm a slow producer as it is with my ideas, so now I'm just trying to learn how to like speed up the process a little bit more, since I'm not home as much.
How does it feel for artists like you are, like original and trying to stay original, if a worldwide known guy called Psy like behaves in a way like a copycat and copies one of your tunes? How does it, like, what went through your mind when you heard the track the first time?
Well, at first I was like, no way, this thing sounds just like Ode To Oi. Well, the melody part, not like this, the arrangement. But then I kind of laughed. I was like, really? I don't know, in a way I was kind of flattered. I was like, damn, like, this dude is really going to take sort of my vibe for his next single, which is so important for him after Gangnam Style. There's like so much attention on that tune, so that they would actually go with my sort of sound as the next single. So I'm sort of flattered by it. But then again, like a few minutes later, after that, I'm like, wait, is he allowed to do that? And like, can he do that? So yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool if Ode To Oi and my other tunes had that much of an influence on them to create a song very similar to it. Legally, I don't know. Maybe he's still okay. Maybe like a musicologist would be able to say that like it was enough of a changes to be different. I don't know. We're actually looking into that. See if that's gonna happen.
So to avoid that, he's just supposed to call you the next time for the next single to produce it. Dude, so Psy, if you're watching this, call TJR the next time you want to have a single.
Man. Yeah, I want to be in that music video here. Yeah, dude, like, that's the way I looked at it. I would have totally made him a track. Like, I would have totally worked with him. So, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, that's what's happening right now with mainstream guys.
We're gonna send that request to Psy's management. Maybe he's gonna call you in a few weeks.
Yeah, all right. That'd be a nice tweet. That'd be a nice tweet.
If there's one living artist in the world that you would love to work with, who would it be? Besides Psy.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so bad working with people. It would probably, the two guys would probably either be Switch or Mr. Wazo. Yeah, those two guys I think are the I tell you what, though, working with Crookers this past week was a dream come true. Like, I think Fra is just like, that guy's mind is so advanced, and the music he's made is just like amazing. But Switch and Wazo, just because they're just like, they just make the craziest beats, and they don't give a shit. You know, they make what they want to make, and they don't give a crap if people like it or not. And I love that attitude.
That brings us back to the question before about the creativity or the uniqueness or the sound of a track.
Yeah, they are like 100% genuine, and they are unique as fuck. Like, yeah, those guys are just, again, because they don't care. I think it's like a genuine quality to have when you produce. Like, don't give a shit. Like, make music. Hey, if you want to make, it's gonna offend a bunch of people. That's awesome. Like, don't try to be liked. Just fucking do what you want to do, man. And it works. Like, you know, it works. A lot of times, people like totally. You think that people aren't gonna love it. Like, you think you're gonna make something so random and retarded, and then people love it. You know, it's just like, I think that's the point.
Actually, that would be a really nice quote to end the interview, if there wasn't my last question. Why do certain people think, and what does it mean if somebody is a cooler?
Oh my God! Who did you? You know Kavi, don't you?
Right.
Fucking Kavi.
You can say thank you to Kavi right now.
Man.
You want to answer the question, or do you want to keep it private?
No. Well, no. Actually, my ability not to close the deals with girls is pretty funny. Yeah. So we had a really good time in Miami this year. And out of all the many nicknames I have, that was one of the pretty funny ones that they came up with. So yeah, it's my inability.
All right.
Thanks.
So thank you very much for being here. Have fun tonight at Fluck.
Thank you.
And hope to see you soon again.
Thanks for having me, Philip. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice.